Hey, this is Dakota Free Press. We're here in Sioux Falls with Mark Winegar and Doug Kronaizl of Represent South Dakota. You guys are talking a lot about Initiated Measure 22 and how it's faring in Pierre. You held a protest in Pierre on Tuesday.
Yep.
You rallied on the Capitol steps. How'd that rally go?
Cold.
Yeah.
It was cold and scary getting there.
Yeah.
But people braved it out, and we stood out in front with signs and chants, and it was a great time.
We had about 14 folks get together. There was one car that had to turn around in the inclement weather, which was unfortunate. But for the most part, it was a lot of people who were coming out on their lunch breaks in Pierre. I mean, it was at 11:15 in the morning, 15-degree weather out in Pierre. So it was nice to get to meet the supporters in Pierre who are willing to brave that weather to fight for IM22 and the will of the people.
Now, as you were out there in Pierre, I mean, you held the rally. You got a chance, I'm sure, to talk to maybe some legislators as well. What sense did you get of whether there's any support for IM22 in the Capitol itself? Did you get any sense of support like that?
Actually, we did not get a chance to talk to any legislators.
They were all filing into the
Yep.
chambers for the State of the State address that started at noon that point in time. So.
However, what I've been able to glean here and there is that, yeah, there is support from both sides of the aisle on parts of IM22. And we just need to convince enough people to honor the will of the people.
Right. Now, we have a couple of bills already that, depending on how you look at it, they're sort of meeting the will of the people, but they're overturning what the people actually voted on. You know, Senate Bill 53 would create a campaign finance ethics commission. Senate Bill 54 would repeal a lot of what you support, 22, right, but it would impose a few new things. Tell me your organization's position on those bills that have been offered by the Secretary of State toward campaign finance reform.
I think the world is Chantel Krebs. But this ethics commission that she wants to establish is totally outside of the spirit of IM22. We need a nonpartisan ethics commission. And she doesn't provide that. The other thing is we need to have some real limits on campaign funding, particularly from lobbyists, and her bill doesn't touch lobbying gifts.
The way we see it, 53 and 54 are kind of smoke and mirrors. They're kind of masquerading as solutions without actually doing anything other than repealing pieces of things that the voters voted for. I mean, this whole line of repeal and replace, if you look at it, the nuts and bolts of it, they're repealing something that the voters wanted and replacing it with something that they either, one, think the voters wanted, or two, what they wanted. Neither of which, the clearest indication of what the voters wanted is what they voted for when they went to the polls in November.
Right.
So that's what we're sticking with and defending that. We appreciate people jumping into the conversation, but frankly, we think these two bills they do a lot to defang what the voters, the change that the voters demanded.
All right, so last question. What comes next to get what you want? You want Initiated Measure 22. You want ethics reform and ways to fight corruption. What do we do next? Do we focus on legislators, focus on the voters and ballot measures? What do we do?
What we need to do right now is get people to write letters to the editor, to call their representatives and their senators, and to speak out. We need to make them understand that we need them to come to the table and with a good spirit and discuss ethical issues and hopefully to pass IM22. It's time.
And I mean, at the end of the day, our main focus right now is to organize voters to send the message to Pierre for the legislators, for the governor, for the Secretary of State to just respect the will of the people. It's a pretty straightforward thing. The voters voted for what they wanted. Now it's time to start working towards bringing that into effect.
Doug Kronaizl, Mark Winegar, represent South Dakota, fighting to save Initiated Measure 22 from the legislature and other forces aligned against them. Thank you, gentlemen, for speaking to Dakota Free Press.
Corey.
Thank you.